This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1108 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by the Jaeckle Center. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. On today's tip, we're going to learn about another one of the amazing high-tech modalities available at Equine Performax at the Jaeckle Center. This time, Dr. Mark Wooten talks about the AquaPacer.
Today on our Horse Health segment, I don't think we're going to be terrifying too much. We have back with us, returning, Dr. Mark from Equine Performax at the Jaeckle Center, which is located about 30 minutes south of Nashville, Tennessee. Hi, Dr. Mark.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good. Hey, you know what I really need, Dr. Mark? If you could invent this, it'd be great, is Kevlar-lined clothing to keep the mosquitoes from eating us alive here in Florida. Can you arrange that?
I'll see what we can do about that, Glenn.
All right, good.
That would probably that'd be a big seller, I'm sure.
It would. You could make bazillions of dollars. Well, you're with the with Equine Performax, which is a therapy center there at the Jaeckle Center in Tennessee, and you've been with us before on the show. And today we're going to talk about a therapy that I'm excited to hear about. And I saw one of these for the first time. They had one set up at Live Oak International at the big driving show not too far from us this year, and they had one of these set up, and the one you're going to talk about is called an AquaPacer. Other people might know them as an aqua treadmill. But tell us about it and what it does, what it's for, and what horses are benefited by the AquaPacer.
Well, we utilize it a lot in our rehabilitation cases, horses that are coming back from injury tremendously. We also use it quite a bit for horses that are older horses that are campaigners that probably don't need all the pounding that they normally get with the daily training regimen, but can go onto the treadmill and do the kind of work that strengthens and produces endurance and that sort of thing without taking all the pounding. As far as the rehabilitative cases, we get these horses back to work a lot quicker because putting them in the treadmill, they're going to be walking, but with the water, it provides buoyancy that is going to take pressure off of the lower limbs as they're doing their exercise on the treadmill. So it's very beneficial from that aspect, and that these horses are continuing to do work. They're not just standing in the stall. The old method of just standing in the stall and doing nothing, maybe doing some hand walking, just doesn't have the same effectiveness that we can have with putting them in the treadmill where there's some resistance against the muscles and so therefore it's providing strength.
Now, let's describe
and without losing any.
I was just going to say, let's describe what the thing actually looks like. It's you want to describe it so people who are listening get an idea of what it looks like and what happens.
Yeah, sure. You can go on our website and see what they look like for a little better idea of what it looks like than just my description. But it's pretty much a treadmill that's in a tank. The horses, it opens at both ends. The horses walk into the tank and come in through the back door. There's a front door where they actually exit the tank, and then it's closed in on them. They begin to walk on the treadmill, and it gradually fills with water. We'll take them up to above the point of the shoulder. Initially, when we first start them into getting used to the treadmill, we'll just walk them through it a few times, just getting them used to enter into the tank and exit and get comfortable with that. And then we'll start the treadmill and get them used to walking on the treadmill. Some horses that haven't ever been on that might not be very experienced with that or be a little apprehensive with getting on the treadmill. Once they become comfortable with that, we start adding water. And initially, we just fill it not completely full like we would once they're used to it. But just up to their knees. And these horses, when they're at that kind of level, they really have a lot of range of motion, which is kind of beneficial in a lot of cases of just reestablishing range of motion in an affected joint. But they'll splash around a lot with that, and there's a lot of water splashing up into their face and onto their belly and that sort of thing. So you kind of got to get them used to that. And once they're comfortable with that, then we'll start taking them up into full depth, and that's when they really start doing the work that really puts the pressure on the muscles and really helps provide strength in the muscles, also stability of the joints, which is where the real benefit from the treadmill comes in.
I got to tell you, the first time I looked at the picture, I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought this. Maybe I am. But when I first looked at the picture, I went, if they open the back door to put the horse in, all that water is going to flood out. I did not realize. I always thought, how are they going to walk them into that water? I didn't realize you filled it after. So that made a lot more sense when I figured that out.
Yeah. And it fills quite rapidly. It's amazing how fast that thing will fill up. And how fast they can get it drained also. The water just kind of comes from all different areas, and it will fill quite rapidly. So, yeah, look, it's just wide open, and when it closes up, it seals quite well. Like I say, we can take it up to above the point of the shoulder.
Now, this obviously is meant to keep some of the pressure off when you have a horse that's recovering and you want to keep some of the pressure off the joints, yet you still want them to get some exercise. What is the difference between this and swimming them in the pool? Well,
with the pool, they are going to get complete buoyancy. There's not going to be any weight bearing on them at all. But I really like the treadmill in that. In the pool, they're going to get into an inverted state in their back. They're going to have to lift their head to try to keep it up out of the water, and so they're going to extend their back rather than go into flexion with their back. And in so many cases, that's just not what we really want. Also, there's a lot more. Swimming is not really something that horses are naturally want to do, and they'll certainly do it, but it's a little bit more of a panic situation for a lot of them. And so, therefore, if you ever see those horses underwater, there's a lot of flailing that's going around in there, and not quite as a controlled type of exercise as what it is on the treadmill. Now, certainly, you're going to get the 100% buoyancy, which is beneficial in a lot of cases. But like I say, there's just a lot more activity going on with the legs. Well, in the treadmill, the kind of work they're going to be doing, there's not going to be the flexion or extension of the back. There's going to be flexion of the back, which the horse is going to kind of go with its head down and actually work through that water a lot more. And it seems to be a lot more beneficial for building top line, especially in a lot of our sport horses. That's where they really need the strength being built up is along the top line.
I know when we had a conversation about this with Reese and Phillip over on the dressage radio show, they both said, we just don't swim our horses. We don't swim the dressage horses. And that's the reason, they want that top line. They want the roundness. So they don't want them hollowing out their backs like that.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. And it's huge difference if you ever watch them go. Matter of fact, sometimes with some of our smaller horses, we have to kind of watch that when they're in the treadmill, if they're wanting to take their head up, we might drop the water down just a little bit just to make sure that they are rounding out in their back.
Oh, they don't think they're swimming. Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Now, what do you, how long, so, and I realize this is subjective, but I'm just trying to get some vague idea here. So your horses are usually there for treatment. They're staying there for a period of time, recovering from an injury or something, a surgery or whatever they've had. And if it's some kind of joint or muscle injury, how will you put them in it every day? Is it a once a day thing? Is it a twice a day thing? Is it for a week, 2 weeks, or is it just completely dependent upon the horse and the injury?
Well, a lot of it is certainly dependent on the injury and where they are in their rehab. Initially, we'll start off, when we're first coming back from an injury, say a suspensory ligament injury, a bow tendon, something like that. It's not going to be every day of the week. It's going to be typically 3 days a week, and we'll build them up to where they are going in it every day of the week. And And then as they're farther along into that rehab, we'll actually start taking them out of the treadmill and then starting to get back onto their back, just for the loading. And so that's where it's beneficial here. Not only do we have the therapy part, we have an excellent trainer, Michelle Zimmers here, and she'll have a rider. She's got several riders here that she will have start to get back on the horse. And so as the process goes on, we kind of convert from the full time in the treadmill back to putting some actual under saddle work to bring these horses back.
And I'll post a link.
So as far as the length of time that it will be here, we've had horses, from just like I say, depending on the degree of injury, but some horses, we had a very nice Grand Prix jumper that was here he was here for like 6 months, but he had like a 50% tear of his superficial flexor tendon that he came back and went back to the show ring much quicker than any horse I would have ever imagined getting back with that type of injury, simply because we were able to keep him fit, not just rehabilitating that injury, but to maintain his level of fitness as far as the rest of his body, that he wasn't losing all that by just standing around in the stall and hand walking. You can't stimulate that same type of exercise and maintain their level of fitness just with hand walking like you can going into the treadmill.
I got to tell you, you have a video, and I'm going to post it on our Facebook page right now. It's a video, and just goes to show you that this isn't just for horses, because you have a video up there of a miniature pony that competes in combined driving, I think. And he actually comes in there and does a couple times a week just to stay in condition and ready to go.
That's exactly right. That little guy, he's quite amazing on that thing. He really loves it. He enjoys it. When he comes out of that trailer, he's headed straight for it, and he really gets into his work on there. And it's real beneficial for, like I said, for the old campaigners, the guys that, they know their job. They don't necessarily need all that pounding and training and that sort of thing, but they need to maintain a level of fitness without the type of work that they have to go through. So a lot of the older horses will come here to spend time on the treadmill, to maintain their level of fitness without the pounding. And these horses do much better back in the show ring because they're fit, they're comfortable, and they haven't been overstressed with the type of typical training that we're doing. And so often we try and, with those horses, the trainer will try to back off of them for soundness issues. But when they're backing off of them, they're also losing strength and stability of joints that predisposes them to other injuries besides those things that they're actually dealing with. So the treadmill work for the horse that is actually actively showing is extremely beneficial.
And where can people see the pictures and find out more about the different things that you do at the Jaeckle Center and Equine Performax?
Well, they can go to our website, equineperformax.com, and see all those things and see all the different modalities that we have here at the Jaeckle Center, and see the beautiful facility that we have, and it's just a great place. And
we're going to have you back to talk about more of those modalities and the different things we can do for our horses that are in treatment for therapy or just staying in shape. And we're going to have you back to talk more about that. Thank you, Dr. Mark. It's Equine Performax. That's MAX at the end there, equineperformax.com. And we'll have you back soon.
Well, there you have it. You can find links to today's guests as well as lots more tips at horsetipdaily.com. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.